What if it's not about a building? What if it's not about stained glass or steeples? What if it's about just Jesus?
Post-holiday stress. All the bills are coming in. Now we got to pay for everything and get everything sorted back out. It's time to take the Christmas trees down and get back to normal life. Corey, you asked me one time, you said, man, do you even have worries? I said, I have worries. I just don't worry about them. But Jesus never said, don't worry.
Actually, he did.
He said, don't worry.
Yeah, he just don't use the word worry. But he says in many ways, he says, sorry, it's just funny.
What?
I love it when we start out like this. Well, first of all, I want to say, what an awesome saying. Man, let's make a t-shirt.
I'll make us a shirt, Corey, because we need to read that a lot. Don't worry about your worries.
Yeah,
But I think more of what I was meaning was he says don't worry. Well, yeah, he does say don't worry, but it's not that you can't worry. That's not unbiblical. It's the fact of how you handle them. Do you let them dwell you down?
Yeah.
Do you let them hold you down? You know, I think what God was saying is you can feel the weight, just don't hold it.
Yeah, well, I mean, yes, and it takes it's almost like going to the gym, working out. I mean, it takes discipline. 'Cause you can't stop a bird from flying over your head, as the old timers say, but you can stop it from building a nest.
I like that. You've said that before, man. I love that saying. Like,
I do too, but gosh, I feel so bad. I've had to tear down a bird's nest before, and it is heartbreaking.
I don't think he's talking about a bird's nest.
What? What do you mean?
Okay.
You want to try that one, Stephen?
Well, he just said.
So
it's like when you're staying in one spot too long. They say you're going to grow roots. We're not growing roots. Keep moving.
Not literally, then.
Yes, it's just like when you can't stop a worry from coming into your head, but you can stop it from staying.
Yeah, because we're just not going to worry about our worries.
So you get that from
I do now. Oh, yeah, I was thinking, gosh, I've had to do that before, and it's so sad. And you feel so bad, and that bird comes back, and you rip down what it made, and
You know what? I'm glad you said that, because
it's heartbreaking.
I'm glad you bring that up, because I want to spin it a little bit from a more spiritual outlook. A lot of times we let thoughts build up in our minds that we like to dwell on negativity, that we like to think about things that we shouldn't think about. And all the time, the enemy is building this big stronghold on our shoulders. He's building this big fortress on our shoulders, and we're letting him, because we don't want to tear down the bird's nest. I know I'm flipping that a little bit, but that's really what it's like. The Bible said the weapons of our warfare, Paul said, I believe in Galatians, the weapons of our warfare are not carnal. Carnal, like carnivore, like a flesh eater, like we think through the flesh, physically, naturally, but spiritually. These weapons that we fight with, they're spiritual. Like we're fighting with a warfare, but we're fighting with spiritual weapons. And the Bible says the weapons of our warfare are not carnal, but they're mighty through God to the pulling down of strongholds. A stronghold is literally a fortress, and it is being built by the enemy on our shoulders, like I said. And God, in other words, just a big fortress of negativity.
I think one thing that we need to think about when we do have those feelings and we have, those strongholds, things being built up.
We need to tear the bird nest down.
I know you got to turn. I only did that because my dog was going to eat those birds, and I didn't want that to happen. But anyway, back to where I was going on a more serious note. But I think that what we all need to remember and think about is that we don't have to carry these burdens and these stresses and these, all of these things alone, we have someone. God tells us to give it all to Him.
Absolutely.
We don't have to carry these burdens around. We have someone to share it with, and we need to do that.
Exactly right. And that's what I was saying when we was first talking about worries. He says in many places, he says in the Old Testament, he says, cast your burdens upon the Lord and he will sustain you. And then in the New Testament, Peter said, cast your cares. Cast, as a matter of fact, it says, cast all, A-double-L, all your cares, all your worries, all your weights. Cast all your cares upon him because he cares for you. The problem is, nobody knows how to do that.
Now, what worries are they talking about? Are they talking about our bills? But no, we can't go get ourselves in some crazy debt and expect God to take care of it. He's not going to pay those bills. I took it as though, like in Matthew 6:25-27, it says, therefore I say to you, do not worry about your life, what you will eat or what you will drink, nor about your body, what you will put on. It's not life more than food, and the body more than clothing. Like, I figure like it's necessities, like things you have to have.
It's like,
not like the worries of how much I paid for Christmas.
So in Exodus,
Excesses.
yeah,
That's what I'm thinking. And that's what I meant when I opened, and I didn't give it any context, and it sounded ridiculous.
well,
but
that was good though.
that was my thinking on where we're going with this.
Well, so in Exodus, when Moses is and the people of the children of Israel are standing before the Red Sea, literally they have to go through. They can't.
Mm-hmm.
God is going to part the waters. They don't know that. Moses says, stand still and see the salvation of the Lord. Or another word for salvation is deliverance. Like he would deliver his children. He would make a way, and he's going to make a way. But there's another verse that says, when having done all to do to stand, stand therefore. So in other words, when you've done everything you could do to pay the debt, when you've done everything you could do to get past the trial, to get over the mountain, like you can't just over and over, you can, and people do it all the time. You can't just, you're not supposed to just make crazy decisions and get yourself in horrible situations all the time, just one right after the other. Like something is wrong if you're doing that. However, I can also tell you that God is a waymaker. That's exactly what he was doing. He was making an impossible way out of no way when he parted the Red Seas, because we really all sometimes make bad decisions. Even the person that's always making bad decisions, if they can ever get to the place to where they would be aware of that, they would be trying not to do that, but maybe perhaps they've made so many bad decisions that they're still living in the results of those bad decisions. And at that point, once you trust in God and you learn and you call on the name of Jesus, you need to cast that care on the Lord, because you can't do nothing about the past. And if you can, then by all means do it. Like I think we go back to what we talk about the day you said, well, you know, if you need to dig a hole and a shovel's standing beside you, leaning beside you, or are you just going to stand there and look at it?
And pray for it?
Yeah, pray for it. God will make a way. God's going to dig this hole.
He did. He gave you the shovel.
Yeah,
Hey,
exactly. So
That's awesome. That's a good saying.
yeah, just like your rocking chair.
Yeah.
So we don't need to. The question is, in the situation, before you do all the worrying and before you get weighed down by all of the cares and the burdens of it, did you do everything you could on your part to get out from under it? And if you did, or if you're trying, God will help you. And God does not mean for you to be consumed by it. He wants you to be able to live. He wants you to be able to live at ease and with peace, because it's like David said in Psalm 23, the Lord is my shepherd and I shall not want. It's saying, I don't need for anything because God is going to provide. He is my provider. El Shaddai, He is the God of provision, Jireh. He is the provider. He is the waymaker. He is the giver of peace. He is the mountain mover. But God also gives us a part too. Just like he says in Galatians, Paul said, put on the whole armor of God that you may be able to stand in the wiles of the devil, or the trickery, or the deception, or the devices that he throws at you. You have to put on the armor. You have to stand, and you have to make the stand. And if you've done everything you can do, you've put the armor on, and you've done everything you can do to stand, then get ready, because God is about to part your waters.
That's perfect. And that's where I was going to compound off that, if you don't mind, Corey.
Yeah, heck yeah.
When Moses was walking, did he know the Red Sea was there? Was that the only path? Like, they couldn't walk around? Did he go there and just say, we'll figure it out when we get there? Or did he just happen to stumble upon the Red Sea and just look at God and say, man, I hope you got a plan, because this is all I got?
I think that the Bible is not so clear about that. But for some reason, I believe that the way they had came and the way the army was on their tail, it was almost like that they got
backed into a corner.
Yes, compiled to that. And I'm pretty sure that God wanted to show his power. And even when Pharaoh, God is the one that hardened Pharaoh's heart to go after them, because Moses had already said, let my people go. And God had already struck Egypt and Pharaoh's kingdom with 10 plagues.
Mm-hmm.
So he had already released them. He was already like, good God, get out of here. You are a nuisance to this. You're killing. Literally, God devoured the firstborn of every baby in their land. And that was what he said, if you'll apply the blood to your door, when I see the door, I'll pass over it. And I think that they were pressing them, and that's when God said, you're here. This is where you've came to, but this ain't over.
Yeah, I mean, you think of that, parting the waters, compared to like our worries and problems, that's nothing. And there's nothing too big for God if he can do that.
Yeah, there's so many people in the world that are so mature. They've got it together. Stephen and Savannah here,
I don't know about that.
You guys
Maybe
do.
we're faking it till we make it, right?
The older you get, the more you realize that nobody is squared away. Everybody's just figuring it out day to day.
Well, it's like
Absolutely.
Stephen said, he has worries, just don't worry about them.
Mm-hmm.
But there are so many people and we are so blessed by God. Honestly, we just don't realize how good and blessed we are. But there are people that have no idea of what it even means to lean on something else.
Mm-hmm.
To run into the refuge of God, to the arms of God, who says, my hand is not shortened that it cannot save you, no matter where you are. One of the most beautiful verses that I have ever read, I believe it's in Psalms 139, that says, I'm going to go to KJV. It says, where shall I flee from thy presence? If I ascend into heaven, thou art there. And if I make my bed in hell, thou art there. Thy right hand holds me and leads me. And if I dwell in the uttermost parts of the sea, even there you are with me. And God is here. He's in every nook and crevice of this earth, everywhere and beyond. If you can just learn, if people can just learn, if we can just learn to talk to him. One of the most powerful things Stephen says is, man, maybe you're an atheist. Maybe you've never believed in God. You don't even you think that's a joke. But try him. Try to talk to him just like you would try to talk to a friend. Reach out to him and just try to talk to him and see if he will intervene in any way in your life. Ask him and be specific. If you are atheist and you choose not to believe, that's fine. But you should also be open-minded enough to at least say, if you're there, show me. And he can. And not only can he show you, but he can show the people that say, I believe, yet we still get into hard situations and we stumble and we get under a lot of stress and we probably do a lot of that to ourselves. But learn how to cast it all on God when you've done everything you could. If you're working and you're paying the bills, but some things are coming up short, cast that on God. If things are hitting you like a car breaks down, you weren't expecting that. And guess what? The God of the universe knows that. Cast it on him. Do everything you can. Talk to whoever you can. Ask people for prayer. But in the end, trust him. Physically trust him and let your faith fight for you in a way that you know beyond the shadow of a doubt that he's going to help you. He promised he would. He would never leave you. He will never forsake you. He is literally waiting for you to cast your cares and worries on him, to make you lighter, to make you be able to be a tool for his kingdom. And if you're weighed down and you're burdened down and you all you're doing is worrying about your own cares and burdens, how can you do for him? That's the point. He's saying, I'm going to pull this off of you so you can do for me, so you can run to that weary soul, so you can run to that person that's chained up in spiritual darkness and they have the fortress on their shoulders. You've got to be free from that so you can set them free.
And that's exactly what I'm going to talk about. And it reminds me of your dad so much. In Proverbs 12:25, anxiety in the heart of a man causes depression, but a good word makes it glad.
Yeah, man.
Mm-hmm. Well, that does make me think of his dad.
Oh, man, he's got them, and it brings so much joy every time he talks because he's always got something positive to say.
You know, he said something to me while we were eating today, and it was awesome. I don't know if I've ever heard him say it, but a lot of people think that it's, especially men, think that it's, I'm a sissy if I shed a tear.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I'm weak if I cry, and I'm not macho, and I'm not being a man. But Dad said something, and I think God, you don't have to cry in front of everybody, but sometimes when I believe worship is when you shed tears and you get to that intimate place with God that it's just you and him. You can cry and you can release a lot of the weight just by giving over fully to him. But my dad said today, he said, son, when a person cries, their head don't swell. And I thought that was amazing. And crying can also be a pop-off valve to your heart. You wouldn't believe how many times that I've literally fell on my face, just me and God, not around the family, but just fall under the pressure. And sometimes the only way to cast your cares is to just break down and get out from under it and release it. And those tears are a pop-off. Sometimes they'll keep you from actually feeling like you're gonna explode. To just release and give it all to God. He did not make you to dwell under the burden. He made you to soar above it. And that's literally by trusting in Him. As Isaiah 40:31 said, they that wait upon the Lord, or they that trust in the Lord, shall mount up with wings as eagles. They shall renew their strength. Mount up with wings as eagles. They shall run and not be weary. They shall walk and not faint. Be blessed.